Good morning, dear students. Hope you all are fit and fine. Dear students, our today's topic is from our English 1 book Marigold, and we are going to study a poem from Unit 3, and the name of the poem is My Shadow. So, children, it's written there that do you know whenever there is light, someone follows you? Have you ever wondered who it is? So, children, see, there is something behind or in front of you whenever there is light. So, do you know what is it the poet is asking? Yes, your answer is that your shadow. It means the title of the poem is My Shadow, and the poet is going to describe about his shadow in this poem. So children, see, let us read the poem now. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me. And what can be the use of him more than I can see? So the poet is saying that his shadow is a little one and it goes in and out with the poet. So what can be the use of him? So it's of no use according to the poet. He is saying that I cannot see the shadow is useful in any of the way to the poet. He is very like me from the heels up to the head. He here refers to the shadow of the poet. So he, the shadow of the poet, is like the poet from the heels. Heels means from your feet up to the head. And I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. So when the poet is or the child is jumping into the bed, the shadow is first of all jumping in front of that person, particular person. So children, let me tell you one thing, that our shadow is formed only when light is there. And according to the angle of the light falling on the person, the shadow's position is changing. Sometimes our shadow is on our sides, sometimes it is besides us, and at other times it may be behind us. So children, this was one page of the poem. Let's come to the next page now. See, the funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Now, the most funny thing, the thing that makes you laugh is about, the poet is saying, that is the way the shadow likes to grow. The shadow's growth is something funny to the poet. Not at all like proper children. Now, as the children, they are growing from little babies to your age slowly and steadily. But the shadow is growing, or it is becoming very small very soon. Okay, now you can see my shadow on the book. Can you see, children? So our shadow depends upon the intensity or the focus of the light. Okay, see, now the next line is, for he sometimes shoots up taller like an Indian rubber ball. So sometimes it is as tall and it shoots up like an Indian rubber ball. You might have seen the Indian rubber ball. And he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. And sometimes we cannot see our shadow now. See, can you see my shadow now? No. So in the same way, sometimes the shadow is seen, sometimes we cannot see the shadow. One morning, very early, before the sun, I was up. So the poet got up early in the morning before the sun. So when the sun was not there means light was also not there. I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. Buttercup is a kind of flower, and according to the poet, he rose means he had risen up early in the morning. He got up, he wake up early in the morning, and then he found a shiny dew. Dew is the water droplets on the flowers and leaves in the morning. So, but my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepy head, Errant sleepyhead. Errant means bad or lazy. Errant sleepyhead means very inattentive. One who is not attentive. One who is not concentrating and taking care of something, but the shadow was inattentive. So the lazy shadow of the poet was inattentive, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in the bed. So, children, do you think that the shadow might be sleeping and the poet has gone outside for a walk? No, it was not so actually. It was the early morning time when the sun was not up. So, that is why there was very little light or no light. So the shadow was not there. So poet wants to say that he thought that his shadow is sleeping on the bed, but the reality is that the shadow was not formed because there was very little light at that time. Now children, see, the poet of this poem is Robert Louis Stevenson. Now let's again have a look on the poem and understand its rhyming scheme. For that, I have taken the first four lines of the poem, then the next four lines, and in this way. So if we take the first four lines here, so the last word of the first line is goes. So we give a letter to it. Okay, we write a letter for it. Now for the second line, when we see the last word, it's me. So it will be named as B line. So B it's there. So now him is. So is there. Is will be the C line. And let's come to the last line. It is I can see. Now you can see the word, you can note down the word see. See is rhyming with me. So as we have given it as the B line, we have given it B name, so it will be also B. So the rhyming scheme of the poem, first four line will be A, B, C, B. Same way students, in this poem, all the four lines have a common rhyming scheme, and that is A, B, C, B. But it's not same for all the poems. Sometimes it is different also. So you have to understand it better with the means of the rhyming words coming at the end of each and every line. Now children, we come to the next topic, that is the figures of speech. So the figures of speech in this poem are imagery. As you can see, the poem is about the shadow, about the poet's shadow, or when you are reading the poem, the shadow of yours come to your mind. So imagery, you can write any one line relating to the shadow. Like it is that I have a little shadow. Same way, now the second figure of speech is simile. Simile is a comparison. Now the poet is comparing the shadow to a Indian rubber ball. So like an Indian rubber ball, it's a simile here. Then second example is like an errant sleepy head. Again, this is an example of a simile. Now children, we know the third figure of speech is alliteration. So here the example of alliteration is sometimes shoots. So here why it is known as alliteration? Because S for sometimes and S for shoots. In both the words, the common letter that is starting the word is S. So the common letter is S in sometimes and shoots. So the pair of this word makes an alliteration. So I hope children you have understood the poem well. So you will revise it properly and then you will note it down. You will note down the 8 lines of the poem in your notebook neatly and nicely along with the poet's name like this. Okay. So thank you and have a nice day.